what if I told you that you could grow an entirely new, fully rooted plant? Without ever cutting a single stem loose, without any rooting hormone powder, and without risking losing a cutting to rot in a glass of water, all by using a method so simple it basically does the work for you while it's still attached to the parent plant? Stick with me, because by the end of this, you're going to know exactly how to use water-air layering to propagate your favorite plants for free, and how to care for your new plant, once it's ready to stand on its own. If you've ever tried the classic method of snipping a cutting and dropping it into a glass of water on your windowsill, only to watch it rot, wilt, or simply refuse to root, you already understand why so many beginners feel discouraged about plant propagation. Water-air layering solves this exact problem in a genuinely clever way. Instead of removing a stem from the parent plant and hoping it survives on its own while trying to grow roots, you encourage that stem to grow roots, while it's still attached, still receiving nutrients and support from the original plant, and only cut it free once it already has a healthy root system of its own. This dramatically increases your success rate compared to traditional cuttings, and it's become an increasingly popular technique among American houseplant enthusiasts, specifically because it works so reliably even for genuine beginners. Let's walk through exactly how to do this, because the process itself is refreshingly approachable. Choose a healthy stem on your parent plant, ideally one that's slightly woody or semi-mature, rather than brand new soft growth. Ficus, pothos, philodendron, monstera, and rubber plants are all fantastic candidates for this method and are commonly found in homes across the United States. Select a spot on the stem a few inches below a leaf node. This is where roots will actually emerge, and make a small upward angled cut into the stem, roughly a third to halfway through its thickness, being careful not to cut all the way through. Gently insert a toothpick or small wooden matchstick into this cut to hold it open. This small gap is what encourages the plant to develop roots at that specific site, rather than simply healing the wound closed. From here, take a clear plastic cup or a small container, cut a slit or hole in the side, and thread it around the stem so the wounded section sits inside the container, sealing any gaps around the stem with a bit of plastic wrap or florist's tape to prevent water from leaking out. Fill the container with clean water, enough to fully submerge the wounded section of stem, and simply let the whole setup hang or rest in place, while the parent plant continues supporting it with nutrients and energy. Over the following 2 to 6 weeks, depending on the plant species and your specific growing conditions, you'll begin to see small white roots emerging directly from that wounded section, growing right there in the water while still attached to the parent plant the entire time. Once you have a reasonably developed cluster of roots, typically an inch or 2 long, with several individual roots visible, you can confidently cut the stem free just below the new root system, and you'll have an entirely new plant that's already established roots rather than one that's still trying to figure out how to grow them. Now let's talk about light and temperature, because getting these conditions right genuinely speeds up root development during the air layering process. Most common houseplants used for this technique prefer bright, indirect light rather than direct harsh sun, which can actually stress the wounded section of stem and slow root formation. As for temperature, root growth tends to accelerate in warmer conditions, generally somewhere between 70 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit, which is part of why many gardeners find late spring through summer to be the most successful window for water-air layering. The parent plant is actively growing during this period, and warmer ambient temperatures support faster cellular activity at the wound site. There's genuinely interesting scientific research behind why this technique works so effectively. When you wound a stem and interrupt the flow of certain plant hormones, particularly auxin, which normally travels downward from the growing tip toward the root apex, that hormone accumulates right at the wound site rather than continuing past it. This localized concentration of auxin is precisely what triggers the plant to begin forming adventitious roots, meaning roots that develop from stem tissue rather than an existing root system, a well-documented process in plant physiology research. Keeping the wound consistently submerged in water, rather than exposed to air, provides the moisture and reduced oxygen environment that further encourages this specific type of root formation at the site. And, because the stem remains attached to the parent plant throughout the entire process, it continues receiving sugars, water, and nutrients from the rest of the plant, essentially giving your developing roots a constant support system that a traditional cutting, isolated and alone, simply doesn't have. Beyond the plant science, there's meaningful research on the psychological rewards of plant propagations. Specifically, studies on hobby gardening and houseplant care have found that successfully propagating a new plant provides a distinct sense of accomplishment and creative satisfaction, and researchers studying nurturing behaviors more broadly have noted that caring for living things, plants included, is associated with increased feelings of purpose and reduced loneliness, particularly for people gardening in smaller indoor spaces like apartments. Watering correctly during and after the air layering process looks a little different from typical plant care, so it's worth understanding both phases clearly. While your air layer is developing, simply keep the water level in your container topped off, checking every few days, and refilling whenever it drops noticeably. Cloudy or discolored water should be gently replaced with fresh water to prevent bacterial buildup that could stress the developing roots. Once you've cut your new plant free and it has its own established root system, you have a choice. You can continue growing it in water as a permanent water-rooted plant, which many houseplants tolerate beautifully long-term, or you can transition it into soil. If you choose soil, plant your new cutting into a well-draining potting mix, and water it thoroughly at planting time. Then follow a normal watering routine going forward, checking soil moisture with your finger, and watering deeply whenever the top inch or two feels dry, since roots that developed in water need a short adjustment period to transition toward pulling moisture from soil instead. Fertilizing and pruning both support your new plant's transition into an independent, thriving specimen. Hold off on fertilizing entirely during the actual air layering process. The parent plant is already supplying everything the developing roots need. And added fertilizer in the water at this stage can actually cause salt buildup that stresses the sensitive new root tissue. Once your new plant is potted in soil and has settled in for 2 to 3 weeks, begin a light, diluted liquid fertilizer routine, roughly half the strength recommended on the label, gradually working up to a normal feeding schedule as the plant continues establishing itself. Pruning, meanwhile, plays a role on both ends of this process, lightly trimming any damaged or yellowing leaves from your new cutting right after separation. It focuses its limited energy on root and new growth rather than maintaining struggling foliage. And back on the parent plant, a light prune of the area where you removed the air-layered stem encourages fuller, bushier regrowth, rather than leaving an awkward bare gap. Choosing the right candidate stem on your parent plant makes a genuine difference in how quickly and reliably this technique works. Look for a stem that's already established and reasonably thick. Avoid the very newest, softest growth at the tips, since immature tissue tends to be more prone to rot in constant water contact rather than forming strong roots. A stem with at least 1 or 2 mature leaves already present tends to root more reliably than a completely bare section, since those leaves continue photosynthesizing and supporting the developing roots with energy throughout the process. If your plant has several viable candidates, it's often worth starting with just 1 or 2 the first time you try this technique, rather than wounding multiple stems across your entire plant at once. This lets you learn the timing and troubleshooting for your specific plant growing conditions. Before scaling up to a larger propagation project, it's also worth knowing that water-air layering is really just one version of a broader technique, and a closely related moss-based method works beautifully too, particularly for plants that are a bit more sensitive to sitting directly in standing water. Instead of a water-filled container, you can wrap the wounded section of stem with a generous handful of pre-moistened sphagnum moss, then cover that moss with clear plastic wrap, securing both ends snugly with twine or garden tape to hold everything in place and retain humidity around the wound. This moss method tends to work especially well for plants like ficus and rubber trees, which some growers find root a bit more reliably in a consistently moist, but not fully submerged, environment. Whichever version you choose, water or moss, the underlying science and overall process remain essentially the same. You're simply choosing the moisture delivery method that best suits your particular plant and your own comfort level with the technique. Keeping a simple log of your propagation attempts is a small habit that pays off significantly as you get more comfortable with this method. Jotting down the date you made each cut, the plant species, and roughly how long it took to see visible roots gives you a genuinely useful personal reference for future projects, since root development timelines can vary noticeably, even between different stems on the very same plant. Over a season or two of experimenting, you'll start to notice patterns specific to your own home's light, temperature, and humidity conditions. Information that's honestly more valuable than any general guideline, since it reflects exactly how your particular growing environment behaves. Even with careful technique, beginners occasionally run into a few common problems with water-air layering, so let's troubleshoot the most frequent ones. If you're not seeing any root development after several weeks, check that your wound is deep enough. A cut that's too shallow sometimes heals over before roots have a chance to form. And gently reopening or deepening the cut slightly, along with confirming your toothpick is still holding it open, often kicks root growth into motion. If the stem section inside your water container starts looking mushy, discolored, or has a foul smell, this typically indicates rot rather than healthy root development. In this case, it's best to cut your losses on that particular attempt. Clean the parent plant's stem back to healthy tissue, and try again at a different node with fresh, clean water. If your new roots look healthy but seem to stall in growth after the first inch, this can sometimes mean the water needs a slightly fresher change, or that ambient temperature has dropped. Moving your setup somewhere consistently warmer often restarts steady growth. And if your newly potted cutting wilts noticeably after transitioning from water to soil, this is a fairly normal, temporary adjustment response. Keeping humidity slightly elevated around the new plant for the first week or two, either with a loose plastic covering or a nearby humidity tray, usually helps it settle in without lasting stress. What makes water-air layering such a genuinely rewarding technique for beginners is how visible and encouraging the entire process is. You get to watch real roots form in real time, right there in a clear container, without ever gambling an isolated cutting's survival on hope alone. It's an almost foolproof way to multiply your favorite plants for free. Share cuttings with friends and family, or simply satisfy that deeply human urge to nurture something new into being. And once you've successfully air-layered one plant, you'll likely find yourself eyeing every other overgrown houseplant in your home as a candidate for its next new offspring. So, take a look at that leggy, overgrown pothos or that rubber plant that's gotten a little too tall for its corner, and instead of just trimming it back and tossing the cutting, give water-air layering a try. Grab a toothpick, a small cup, and a bit of patience, and watch your favorite plant multiply itself, one healthy root at a time. If you love learning about seasonal flowering plants, vegetables, gardening tips, and nature care, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Nature Nurture Hub, your home for year-round garden inspiration. Let's keep growing together.